FM, The Source.
right, 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. You know, I heard the other Inagata-DeVito the other day, and I like Stanley's better. I do. I like his. Is really good. It's got crisp or something. How you doing, Carol Ann?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. For the listeners, this is In the Garden with Carol Ann.
And we are live.
Carol Ann, we are live. And one of my favorite things about what you have created is when somebody posts something on Facebook and there's a picture. Joe Niles put a picture.
Yes.
I want you to explain what it is.
Yeah,
but I just love that. For the listeners, go to the Facebook page and look.
Yeah, it's. I'm trying to get mine up because we just a little issue there with the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
But it's coming up. It's what it is. It's a picture of like banana trees.
That is a cool idea.
Cut off.
Yeah.
And laid sideways, and planted in them. You know, it's.
If you didn't know it was banana tree, you'd think it was just logs.
Right, yeah. Right, and it's a banana tree log. When you figure about banana trees, I mean, you had to have two people to pick those suckers up too, because they are so full of water.
Yeah.
That it's, as they're calling it, biodegradable and moisture-rich banana stems are great for growing veggies at home. And you could build yourself a little rack or find like a sturdy baker's rack or something like that, and set some on. Take a paddle bit drill or a hole saw. You know, the things that'll make a hole in a door. Take out a little plug out of there, or drill out a little plug and put a little plant.
Yeah.
And
that is a really good idea.
And it's gonna stay moist. You know, those things stay.
And then what do you do? Just let it grow there for the rest of its life?
Just let it grow there. And I mean, I'm trying to see. The picture doesn't really give it justice.
But you have to have a banana tree to do that.
Yeah, you would have to have banana trees to do it.
And you have to be able to sacrifice your banana tree.
Many times those things multiply themselves readily, so it's not a big issue. Or it might just be something fun to try. I mean, it's just one of those kind of different.
Plus, it's pretty.
Kind of things. It is pretty. It's unique. But you figure also in maybe other parts of the world, other parts of the country where maybe you don't have the space or things like that, or this conserves resources of fresh water, their own water supply. You know, you have wild growing bananas and taking a few sections and using them to grow different food, not just bananas. You know, or when the banana, if you're not in an area where your banana trees would freeze, or I guess even if you were, your banana tree produced bananas. You got that hand of bananas. You've cut it off. What are you going to do with that tree? You're going to cut it down.
Oh, because it doesn't produce more than one?
It's not going to produce again. So
okay, that's
you can
right.
Take
you have said that,
and move that. Just realize they do weigh a lot.
They do.
They're heavy. Because it is all water. And sometimes they can be pretty good size around. So I would say you could plant a pretty good size, type of, plant in there, because it should be able to take that root system, because it's just going to put the roots in through those fibers.
Do you know what I have on mine, by the way?
What's that?
Every single time I cut one open, ants. And I don't mean the little tiny ones.
They're the big carpenter ants.
They don't bite?
They can. I've been bit by one, and it hurts.
Really? I never had one bite me, but they're always in there.
They're always in there. They like moisture.
Yeah,
Those big bull ants, the big carpenter ants. That's why when you find carpenter ants in the house, I always tell people, look for a leak. You'll find them in the bathroom. You'll find them in the bed, in the kitchen, many times under a sink, in a window area.
They like the water.
They like moisture and rotting wood or decay, kind of thing. And with your banana trees, they're very wet. A lot of times the dirt collects down and things like that. So
that's a cool idea.
But they are pretty neat. And if anybody had seen, what was that? That was yesterday's, the little teeny lizard that was on the top of my plant. Yeah. It was, I almost missed him. He was small. I don't think he's the smallest I've seen, but he was so cute. And I said, can you stay put while I get the camera out and get it all set? Not trying to show him so he doesn't freak out and go, oh, I'm going to be on camera.
The fact that you labeled it as a very small helped me figure out that it was small, because really in a photograph it's hard to tell.
It's hard to tell, yeah, because I zoomed in on him, so. But he was just cute, so I had to have a picture.
So we got rain, looks like right now.
Yeah,
looks like it's coming down.
So, I'm glad I brought my umbrella in, and hopefully I don't forget it this time.
If you would like to call into the show, that's what this show is about. The number is 622-9622. You do not have to have a question. You can just call and say hi to Carol Ann or tell us how your garden is growing. Yeah. My two things, let's see, my peace lily doing pretty good.
Yeah.
And put it in potting soil.
Right.
And then my apple tree doing pretty good.
Doing all right. Yeah. Mine too.
It's out in the rain. I let nature water it now.
Let nature do its thing. Oh, and last week when I was out, we had, if anybody recalls, we were doing the National Iced Tea Day was the 10th. And I did draw the winner, and Bridget was the winner. She was a name that happened to have entered on the Facebook page, and I had taken everybody's names, written them all down on a piece of paper, threw them all in a pile, and had a coworker pick out one name, and it was Miss Bridget Pace who had won. I'm still waiting for the prize package. I'd have thought I'd have had it by now, but I'm getting ready to probably call them back again. I keep emailing and not hearing anything in response. So I'm a little bit peeved with their, I guess it's their marketing company or something like that, that's just not fulfilling or not even responding. So it's like, okay, I hope they're still employed.
Yeah, really? Don't you hate that?
I do, because it's like, come on, respond. You responded the first couple emails I did, and then nothing. So I'm still waiting. But Miss Bridget had won, and so that's when we get it, we will definitely. She will have it. We'll
tea is something we don't. Well, no, I shouldn't say we don't. I mean, as Americans, we seem to gravitate toward coffee more than tea.
Not me.
Not you.
Not me. I'm one of those weird people when somebody says, "Oh, I gotta have coffee," and I'm looking at, go for it,
Oh, really?
Yeah,
see, when we were down in the Universal, we were doing a gig in this hotel near Universal, right. And there was a lady from Scotland, and she said, "I can't do the accent, but she said, where can somebody get a spot of tea?" Yeah. And I said, "Oh, the restaurant? I don't know."
Right.
She couldn't find anything other than iced tea
or iced tea or sweet tea. Yeah. And it is tough when you're and what always got me, and it has nothing to really do with gardening, but you go in a restaurant and they will refill your coffee cup. You'll pay $2 for that cup, and they'll come by every 10 minutes and fill your coffee cup. You order a cup of hot tea, they bring you one tea bag and a pitcher of hot water. Right. And it's like, okay, if I steep that tea bag in all of that water, I'll get a cup and a half. If I want another tea bag, you're going to charge me $2?
That's funny.
For that 4-cent tea bag?
That's funny. Yeah.
And so it's like, come on, people.
You know what you do? Just get hot water, bring your own tea bags, right?
I'm tempted.
Good morning. You're on the air with Carol Ann.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have a question for
Sure.
you about gardening. And I'm no stranger to gardening, but this one has me baffled.
Okay.
Several years ago, I planted a crepe myrtle in my daughter's front yard, and it grew beautifully and had lots of flowers, but it was too close to the house and was blocking the bay window.
Okay.
So I dug it up and transplanted it into a front yard where it had more sunlight, and it came back beautifully, and it's growing beautifully, but it won't flower. The only thing that we can think of is that it's near the edge of the leach field. Is that the reason?
I wouldn't.
I've never had trouble with crepe myrtles before.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. Obviously, when you're saying it had gotten too large, you're not one to prune at the wrong time of year, or. But even then, they'll usually bloom later. Was it one? I mean, how long ago did you transplant it?
It's been about 4 years.
Oh,
And
okay.
last year we tried some plant foods tricks, plant foods,
Right.
But the year before and last year it had a few beans on it. It was kind of nice, but I mean the tree is healthy and everything.
But
And
it's just not.
impossible to kill.
You know what? It's possible that it is the leach field, only for the sake that that's going to be a higher nitrogen source. Normally, is what's going to be in there, which causes a great looking plant with not much bloom. So you might try, and I don't know if it's too late for this year or not, something like a bloom booster, that high center number, just to try to kick that off and see if it, would trick that into to blooming again. And I think maybe once you get it going again, it might go ahead and realize this is what I'm supposed to do. How big is it?
Well, right now, we always trim it back every year, like they, not as bad as some,
Right.
but, around February and everything. So it's probably 6, 8 feet tall.
Okay. So not anything too unreasonable that maybe you couldn't go and see even this year if you clipped it a little more, like right now, maybe just selectively through, forced a little bit more new growth, because that's what they're blooming on. And maybe get a little bit of flowering this year, possibly, and trying a bloom booster. Maybe I hate to say the liquid varieties now because we're getting so much rain. But like a granulated bloom booster or a phosphorus, a type of a phosphorus source, in order to try to kick that up.
Phosphorus, okay. All right, I can do that.
Okay.
And while I'm here, Larry, I sent you an email, but just to say it publicly, I know last week must have been really difficult for you without Robin, but you did a bang-up job, and kudos to you.
It's sweet of you to say, but I'm so glad she's back.
That's that. So, all right, welcome back, Robin, and thank you all for the advice, and I'll talk to you. This is Karen, by the way, if you haven't guessed.
Okay.
And I'll talk to you later.
Thank you so much, Karen.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, it looks like you got somebody else trying to call in.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Karen. Good morning. You're on the air with Carol Ann.
Yeah, good morning. When you go to Bob Evans and you order hot tea, you get a selection of different flavored tea bags. You don't just get one tea bag.
Oh, nice.
Just a little
Just a
hint.
heads up. Okay. Well, that's the odd. That's unusual. So, but that's a good thing to know. All right. Thanks.
Okie dokie.
Yeah. Thanks.
You have a good day.
You too.
Good day, everybody, and welcome back, Robin.
Thank you, Jim. So what do you put in your tea?
Sugar.
Just sugar?
Yeah.
No cream,
Just,
nothing?
black with sugar.
No honey, no lemon?
I'll do honey sometimes. Lemon I usually reserve for my sweet tea. My iced tea. I will do cinnamon in my hot tea.
Really? So do you get into the Earl Greys and the other types?
I do like
Yeah?
an Earl Grey. I don't usually do too many of the flavored teas. I just, I get up in the morning just like everybody else. I want to, instead of they have a cup of coffee, I get my cup of tea.
I wonder if it's measurable, because they say it's actually healthier for you than coffee. I wonder if you could look at your innards and say, look at this.
No, I mean, I've been drinking hot tea since I was a kid.
Do you ever have the dentist say to you, "Oh, you must drink tea"? Because they always say to me, "Oh, you must drink coffee."
I was going to say that the tea will stain your teeth just as bad as coffee.
Oh, you must drink coffee. Yes, I do.
But I think more people who drink coffee will drink coffee more throughout the day. I guess there's some people drink tea throughout the day, but I change. Once I've had a couple cups of hot tea. After that, it's a glass of water.
Okay.
Gatorade or something.
Do you
like
ever
that.
say the word spot? Do you have a spot of tea?
No, I don't think I ever have.
Or you have another phone call.
Great.
Good morning. You're on the air with Carol Ann.
Good morning, Carol Ann.
Good morning, Sonny.
calling.
Yeah.
I think the weather has really gone botzo. It seems like we get more lightning and thunder in the mornings than we do in the afternoons, and the rain is so over rain, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, this isn't the regular rainy stuff. This is a whole different thing. Hopefully it'll fix itself soon.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm so over rain.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
the weather is really weird here. But anyhow, I like the Irish breakfast tea, and my wife, who is Irish, likes the English breakfast tea.
That's funny.
And I don't know. We just have tea. It's every evening we have tea. She likes hers with a little milk in it. I like mine just leave it alone, add a little sweetener, and that's it. I'm good to go.
Yeah, it's relaxing.
So it's weird.
Yeah,
my ancestry is German and Norwegian, so I don't know.
Yeah, but and that's it. It is, even though, I mean, some people say the chamomile teas or the lavender scented teas and things like that for relaxation, but I actually find a cup of tea just in its own is relaxing, even though it has caffeine. I think it's just the hot beverage thing, kind of.
Oh no, I do like the different tastes of tea. The oolong tea, if you go to a Chinese restaurant, if they do it right, is really delicious.
Yes, it is.
I don't even add sugar at all to that. I just drink it straight from the pot.
Yep.
But other than that, like I said, I'm over this rain.
Yeah, I am too. I could use a day or two to dry out, beginning to start to think my feet are going to get webby.
I have my crepe myrtle trees. One is really growing like crazy, with tons of blooms, and that happens to be the white one.
Okay.
And I have a red one who is like half its size. They were planted at the same time.
Okay.
But it just looks a little puny. Does have plenty of blooms on it, so that's one good thing I guess we can say for the rain.
But the plant itself is
my
puny.
one big crepe myrtle has gone like a year sometimes or 2 years where you get blooms, but it's nothing to rave about. One or two here or there.
Okay.
But this year it's really full of blooms.
I wonder if the heat stress of May and the dry of May had anything to do with some of that. Because I've seen some crepe myrtles, like you said, that this year are just spectacular. They're nice, they're full of bloom, just nice, even canopy of flower. But then, Karen's just isn't doing anything. But I wonder. Some of it has to do with the weather that we had just a month ago. We were so excessively hot and so excessively dry for that. That short period.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it did, but the other thing I was told that you can fertilize them at least once a year in the spring. You go around the line of where the limbs are.
Yeah, between the
that line there. That's they say that's where the roots are.
Between the
and
trunk
I
and the
fertilize
drip
that
line.
with like like a 666 or a 10.
Yeah, just a balance. Just a balanced fertilizer. Yeah, just a balanced fertilizer. Yeah, usually we do between the trunk and the drip line, and the drip line's the end of the branches, because that's where all those good feeder. Yeah, that's where all those good feeder roots are at, or between that section.
But now there's so many blooms and everything, and the seed pods or whatever you want to call it, that the limbs are starting to droop. So I have to get out there and trim some of this stuff. Otherwise, we'll probably be breaking some branches off.
I don't know if it'll break some branches. It's just they'll hang down, but those branches are normally pliable enough to handle that. It's not like they're gonna the blooms are gonna get heavier. Not like a fruit tree that after the blooms are on, the fruit gets heavier and heavier because the blooms will begin to fade. And you can always trim when the flowers are beginning to fade, trim some of those to encourage a little more flowering in a few weeks.
Right, but anyway, I got a lot of blooms on mine, my tree, especially the white blossoms on the backyard.
Yeah, those are.
And I was told that if you really want a crepe myrtle tree, there's only I think it's either the violet or the white. The red doesn't grow like a tree. more wants to stay as a bush?
Any of them, I think you can actually tree up, but just some of them are taller than others. I know some of those reds, some of the ones with the darker foliage, that burgundy foliage, only get to about a mature size of about 10 feet. So it is more shrub-like, but you can always prune it into just single trunks or say 3 or 4 trunks into an area and just keep trimming off everything that's growing below where you want it to be.
My red one is a single trunk, and then it starts spreading out as it goes up.
At the top,
the white one is like one giant trunk, or I shouldn't say giant, but it's a lot larger than the red. But it has a lot more branches, main branches coming off. Right.
So, yeah, that's
just... But anyway, thank you very much for your programming, and, thank you, WOCA. Thank you, Larry, for having Carol Ann on, and everybody have a great day.
Thank you, Sammy.
Yeah, you too. And keep your swim flippers handy. The puddles are there.
Have a good one.
You too, Sonny. Thanks for calling.
If you want to call in, you are invited to do that. The number is 622-9622. The show is called In the Garden with Carol Ann. Carol Ann is your host, and she volunteers to do this each week. So thank you, Carol Ann, for doing this. Want to make sure people know that. Just call in and say hi. I like when people call in.
Yeah, and come on to the In the Garden page. We'd love to have
go Facebook, do the
pictures
Facebook.
Joe Nice is always sharing something on here. We also have an article on the diatomaceous earth.
Yeah, what was that? What was that?
Diatomaceous earth, we might want to get it there. I'm not sure if we got time to before the bottom of the hour. Is an organic pesticide that animals or insects can't become immune to.
Oh, really?
Because it's pond bottom. I don't know if they actually
pond bottom.
Yeah, it's comes off. It's diatoms, diatomaceous earth. It's and it's like a silica. And it's on the food grade and insecticide grade. It's not sharp to feel it.
And they get it from the bottom of a pond?
Yeah, pretty much. You might as well say it's like ancient pond bottom.
Really?
But what we would use in the landscape or as a food grade is actually very, very sharp to soft-bodied insects. Or even ones with ectoskeletons that it gets in and it makes little teeny nicks and punctures and things like that, in which eventually the pest will desiccate. They'll dry out because they can't seal that back up. There are a couple different grades of it, and if anybody wants to, we can get into it a little bit, because you never want to use your pool grade one that they sell for pool filter, because one, it's not as effective, and two, it's not pure.
Okay.
So.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, we're close to the bottom. Let's squeeze one in real quickly.
Okay.
Good morning. You're on the air with Carol Ann.
Hey, good morning, Carol Ann. Good morning, Robin. That thing on diatomaceous earth is and I just became aware of this.
Okay.
Don't use it inside. And I've always used it inside.
Yeah,
the DE grade of diatomaceous, and it's ground up coral beds.
Yeah.
And it's a silica, and it's so fine that it will enter the joints of insects.
Right.
It sounds cruel, but they bleed to death.
Right.
Because it cuts them up.
It nicks and scratches them, but I don't see any reason why not to use. I mean, yes, it can be an irritant, but you can use it. It's labeled, most of them, to use on your bedding for your pets, on furniture, in carpets. I would. Like they say in the article, to wear a dust mask while doing it. I used to put it in a sock and dust my dog with it. I could pet the dog too.
Yeah, exactly. And I used to put it in one of those plastic ketchup containers and squirt it under all the cabinets.
Poof it under the refrigerator and all that. Yeah.
Exactly. But I just shared that because it did indicate that there were respiratory dangers by using it. I've had enough respiratory dangers in my years now. I'm going to survive diatomaceous earth.
Yeah, I'm sure. And I think most of that is that, if you're working with it and wearing a dust mask is going to help, is that it poof up in your face and you get a good snoot full. You don't want to be taking that quantity of it in, but it was, you can put it in the food grade into your stored rice and flour and cornmeal and stuff to keep the mealworms from,
you can safely ingest it. That's not an issue with it. But, it was just an interesting article, and hell, I get a snoot bowl every Friday and Saturday night. It's just not diet to make
it's earth. Yeah, I got you. Yep. But you're right. Just with anything, use with caution and pay attention to what they say on the labeling on how to protect yourself.
Love your show, Carol.
Thank you.
Talk to y'all later. Have a good one.
Thank you, Joe. All right, before we go to the break, you got some prizes?
We get a couple prizes. We'll take two callers. We got Bob Wine's gift certificate and a gift certificate for free pizza at Marco's Pizza, and another Bob Wine's and a $20 gift certificate for Time Out Billiards and Buffet on South Pine Avenue.
Nice. So 2 winners. If you call right now during the break, 622-9622. Let it ring until I answer it. If we come back out of the break and I have not answered the phone, that means 2 other people have won. And try again next time. We'll take a little break. 622-9622. This is The Source, WOCA Ocala.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Here is your 1-minute news brief. The city of Orlando is bracing for a significant interruption in rush hour traffic when President Trump visits the Amway Center for an evening event there tonight. A Florida police officer has been found guilty of culpable negligence for shooting at a severely autistic man and wounding the man's caretaker. After 2 deaths in recent months on the Rainbow River in Denellen, new safety precautions are in place. The Denellen Police Department says they have placed a boat on the river for easier access if someone needs help. Florida County Elections Departments will retain $2.3 million in unspent grant money aimed at stopping cyber attacks on the state's voting system. There is no indication last year's state elections were hacked. A Florida woman has become a U.S. citizen at the age of 103. And Disney World confirmed yesterday that it will have pass holder previews for Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. The previews will take place before the new land's August 29th grand opening and will be complimentary. And that is your news brief from The Source.
Ocala Magazine is the city magazine distributed throughout Ocala, Marion County, and the Villages, providing award-winning coverage of important issues for almost 40 years. Hi, I'm Philip Glassman, publisher of Ocala Magazine. Ocala Magazine offers a platform for branding opportunities for your business or events while covering the latest in local lifestyle throughout print, digital, and social media. Listen every Friday at 10 a.m. on WOCA.
Visit Southeastern Trailers today. We have new and used enclosed cargo and open utility trailers, along with built-to-order trailers. We service all brands of cargo and utility trailers, installation of hitches, wiring and electric brake controls, and installation of trailer accessories, with locations in Ocala and Ormond Beach to serve all of Central Florida. Call 1-888-622-1816. Again, that's 1-888-622-1816.
Hi, this is JP from Penn Flooring here in Ocala. I would like to invite you to come in and visit our spacious showroom where we have solutions for every style and budget. From wall-to-wall carpet to hardwood floors and tiles, we have an unsurpassed selection of flooring. At Penn Flooring, we've provided quality customer service with a family touch for over 25 years. Visit our website at pennflooring.com or come by our showroom, 1201 Southwest 17th Street, just over the bridge. Penn Flooring, quality customer service with a family touch.
Freddy's Specialty Sundaes, classic American treats, made with freshly churned, rich and creamy frozen custard. Welcome to Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, the taste that brings you back.
So now that you have your heart set on Freddy's, all you need to know is how to get there. That part is easy. Just go down Highway 200 in Ocala east of I-75. Then look for the giant frozen custard cone on the wall.
The College of Central Florida is committed to being your first choice for quality higher education. CF has locations in Marion, Citrus, and Levy counties and offers more than 60 academic programs. Earn a certificate, associate, or bachelor's degree. With Florida's 2+2 program, a student can complete an associate in arts at CF and be guaranteed admission to a state of Florida university. CF is ranked number 13 in the U.S. for affordability, is military friendly, and offers a full student life experience. Make CF your first choice. Call 352-873-5800.
Personal chauffeur driver needed. Requirements? Must be a hard worker with excellent customer service skills. Maintain a clean, neat, and well-groomed personal appearance. Ideal for individuals looking for a flexible job to earn extra income. Contact Tony Cole, 036@gmail.com. Again, for the personal chauffeur position, contact Tony Cole, 036@gmail.com.
All right. Thank you, everybody. I know everybody wasn't able to win. That was 2 popular prizes right there, Carol Ann. Yeah. Food is always going to be popular.
That's always a winner.
Plus, if I could just put a pitch in for Bob Wines, Joe went out to Bob Wines and apparently he got a lot of stuff. To put in his yard.
This time of year, a lot of nurseries, Bob Wines included, they do some. They're getting ready to what we call pot up things, where they're moving it from the smaller size container into a larger one, in which next spring you're going to pay the next price up. So in a way, they try to actually even sell off some of that smaller stock. So that's where you find some of the sales, is so they either don't have to I know it sounds funny, overwinter it next year or this winter, even though it's only June, or even just try to get it through the summer. That some things just are going to be, it's already been grown. They were hoping for it to sell between June and July, August, and get it out of there, because they'll be getting fresh stock of items, in a few weeks or in another month or two. That, as your seasons change over, it's just the way, nursery industry and that works. So sometimes you get some really good deals.
How far do they come? Like when you get a plant at Lowe's, how far away did it actually grow?
May have been down in Homestead. It may
really
have
that far away. Wow.
Yeah, some of the items, depending on time of year, might be coming from Georgia or even South Carolina. So that's one of those. It depends on the nurseries that are growing for them, but it's grown for this specific area.
Grown for us.
For us, and it just might be that you need a cool season nursery where it's going to be cooler in order to get your cool season plants on time. Otherwise, they've got to try to chill down nurseries in Florida, and that's a lot harder to do. I mean, it can be done, but it's
Is it easier to make it hot than cold?
Yes.
All right. Good morning. You're on the air with Carol Ann.
Good morning, Carol Ann. I got some plants from Bob Wines. How many times a day do you water them to make them stay alive, to stay in bloom?
Once. You don't need to.
Water them once a day, but sometimes I do it twice a day because sometimes they just die.
Are they? When you get them, are you bringing them home and putting them in the ground or into another pot?
No, they stay in their pot. I put them on the hook.
Oh, it was a hanging basket.
Yes, a hanging basket. Yes, ma'am.
I'd probably say usually about once a day, but water it thoroughly. You want to water it to that water will run, if you can, out of the bottom of it. Don't just give them a cup or two of water. Water it to where it comes out. And at 2:00 in the afternoon, if they're in the hot sun, everybody's going to show some signs of stress. If without after adding water, if by like 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening they're perking back up, they probably have enough water. Do you know which plants you've got that are doing that?
To be honest with you, no. I just get the beautiful ones. The ones.
But
I can't think of the name of them.
Maybe they're a sun patient.
I don't know the name of it, to be honest with you.
So it got a bright color?
I just wanted to know.
Okay. Some plants will do that, and sun patients and the impatiens are ones that are very, very fleshy stems. And yes, at the end of a day, if they don't have enough water, they're going to be drooping over their pot. You give them water, and boop, they perk back up a couple hours later.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, those ones you really do need to give them a good drink of water, and I would do it in the mornings.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, hanging baskets can be a little bit of a, this might be our guy.
Oh, okay.
It might need to get Robin to.
Okay.
That hanging baskets can be a problem for the sake that they are small containers. They're hanging. We stick them in the sun, and the soil that they're in, there's just not a lot there. So yeah, that is something that many times we have to do at least once a day, depending on the plant. Right now, if I know a lot of planters that are out there that are vinca or purslane, and those will do just fine with water every other day, usually. But something like an impatient, they're going to need water every single day. And most of the baskets have maybe a little bit of a space in them that holds a small amount of water, but you want to water them where that water begins to come out of the bottom. Give them a good amount of water, and they're going to stay alert. They're going to stay perky for you. Early morning is better. Now, if they're plants that should have been in a little more shade, you may need to try to find another location, something like a begonia or a New Guinea impatient. So check your tag and see. Many times your tags will either indicate with a little sunshine or half a sunshine, or yellow meaning full sun, maybe an orangey color or a little bit different color that would say that it's a morning sunlight kind of plant only. Now, if it's something that tells you no direct sun, get it out of the full sun. You're just going to burn that poor thing up.
And let's say I learned by my mistake not to put my peace lily in the full sun.
Right, your peace lily wasn't happy. And there's a couple other ones out there right now, and it's funny because they're in the same family, but like gingers. Your curcumas, which are coming up, they're blooming now. They sometimes call them Siam tulips. They call them curcuma. Also related to turmeric, which I'm actually waiting. My turmeric's finally growing, which I actually bought turmeric root. So I know that that's the edible turmeric.
You're a healthy lady.
Oh, I wish.
Drinking tea, turmeric.
But that one's coming up and growing. But I also have the curcumas, which the flowers, I'm wondering, are they the same? Because the turmeric, I have, what's it called? Something, I think orange torch. And the flowers are long. I think there's a picture on the page of those ones. Yeah, if you scroll back down to June the 8th, those were flowers that were just opening or just coming on. They're much larger now, but those prefer less sun. Yeah, those were burning last year when I had them out with more sun. But the other ones that come through and they're selling them as curcuma, same thing, but the flowers more, say, tulip shaped, those seem to like more sun. So you got to figure out where they're all supposed to be.
So I have maybe a dumb question. If you don't know and you do it the way I did, a trial and error,
right?
Do you risk killing it or ruining it?
You risk burning it. Usually, if you're alert enough, if you're paying attention, you catch it and go, "Oh wow, that was the wrong spot for it," and move it, or look it up online. No, or
that's right. We do have that.
We do have the internet now, and we have my Facebook, the group page here. There's a lot of.
You can ask questions. Yeah.
You can ask questions. Read the tags. I mean, the tags are there to be helpful for you. I mean, even those of us in the store. I mean, I still read a tag to a customer because I can't remember the details.
Yeah, right.
Every single plant.
Right.
Not all of them.
Okay, we have a phone call. Right. Good morning. You're on there with Carol Ann.
Hi, Carol Ann. Sunny again.
Yeah.
Quick question.
Sure.
You told me when I called one time before the lilacs don't do well here in Florida.
Correct.
And in my travels around Ocala, I saw, I forget whether it was on Silver Springs or on 14th Street, a large, I don't know, it could have been a tree or a very large bush of a plant that had flowered, and it looked like lilacs. Is there something similar to a lilac that we can grow here?
In the coloration, it's usually that's where people were planting crepe myrtle, just to get the lavender, the purple colored crepe myrtles, because of that cluster bloom. Something with a smaller bloom might have been a vitex or even a buddleia, Budelia, is another one where it has clusters of blooms on the ends of the stems, the branches, and are usually in a purpley or lavendery, shades, blue colors. That might be one of those.
And that's Budelia,
Buddleia. Buddleia.
All right.
Or
the
other one could be vitex, Vitex, also known as a chaste tree.
Chaste.
CHASTE.
Now I did see that on the Bob Wine's flyer.
Yeah.
I saw that name on there.
Those are a pretty plant, also, and get to be quite a good sized shrub. Both of those are pretty large shrubs, and both have flowers to me that are similar.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And again, have a great day, everybody.
Certainly.
All right, got a few more minutes. It's 14 to be exact. If you want to call in, the number is 622-9622, and you can chat with Carol Ann, ask a question, or just say hi, or howdy.
Howdy. How do? Yeah. Coming in. We're coming into the heat of the summer, and it's actually kind of funny that I don't know if people just didn't realize it. Even just up to a few weeks ago, I've had people asking for pansies, and I'm kind of going, really? It's hot out, but then have to correct. I have to give them some learning and let them know.
Well, I think that's what it is.
Just too hot for us for that. The one thing
that's why we need advice, because I think what we do, the average person just says, you know what I would like.
I would like. This is what I grew up.
Right.
This is what I grew up north, and like Sonny looking for lilac, and lilac just doesn't do here. And I'm thinking it's either possibly the buddleia or a vitex, both of which would probably be found somewhere downtown Ocala or in some of the historic areas, especially because they're fairly good shrub, or one that with longevity, and that's been around for a while. It's not a new thing to plant. So that's one of those. One thing, and of course I wasn't here last week, which was a little closer to the beginning of the month, but it's middle of June, actually at the end of the June, third week of June already. Fertilization for lawns stop. It's raining every single day.
Don't do it again.
Don't do it. We don't need it. We all want to be good stewards of the environment, of our water sources, of the watershed. Putting down a fertilizer that's a high nitrogen on our lawns is not necessary right now. Every time it rains, especially if it's got a little lightning
it rains
in it,
pennies from heaven?
It's raining your lawn fertilizer. If you notice, soon as you might have been running the sprinklers all of May, and your grass still looked crunchy. It rained in June, and boom, that grass was green. All that nutrition, and every time you mow that grass, all this rain is going to make you have to mow it. Mow it regular so that you're only trimming off a small amount at a time, so it doesn't collect on top, killing off parts of the grass. And that little bit of grass that you're dropping back down in there, the rain we're having is feeding your lawn. More fertilization you do to a lawn, the better chance you're going to bring fungal issues as well as diseases. Insect issues, fungal and disease are the same thing. So, pay attention, save your money. Lawn fertilizer is expensive. Save your money, wait till September, October maybe, to put your next fertilization down. If it really needs it, as we're starting to get all the rain and it starts to, again, begin to look a little yellow or a little pale, then we're looking at iron sources, not nitrogen sources. Yes, nitrogen will green things up, but it'll also force it
How do you remember
grow.
all that stuff? Yeah.
Nitrogen forces that top growth. Iron will green things up without forcing the growth. Every time you mow the grass, you're putting nitrogen back in. Every time it rains, especially with lightning in the air, you're putting nitrogen back in the ground. So you don't need to put it down. I'm figuring, it's probably been, God, how many years ago? Today it's 2019 now. I don't remember what year it was that I believe it's Hillsborough County or Pinellas County over there, Tampa area. They banned nitrogen fertilizers from June the 1st.
I remember that, yeah.
Through September 30.
Right.
You can't even buy it.
Unless you cross the county line.
Across the county line. But you know what? There's fertilizer police out there. Your neighbors are watching because they agree with, you don't need to put it down. Lake County, and I believe some other counties, Lake County's the closest one to us that I know of, has it. It's not banned from purchase, so it's not on the retailer's side. It's on the homeowner side. It's on the consumer side to be a good steward to not use it. And then even during the times of year when you can use the nitrogen fertilizers, there are better products out there than others. And those ones you're looking for, the ones that are a 50% slow release nitrogen. They're going to say right on the bag that this is what they are. They will say that they are BMP, which is Better Management Practices compliant, which means they are compliant with the state of Florida regulations on fertilizers. On that, so they're already right there trying to help you be a good steward of the environment when you're doing your landscape. So, this time of year, if you find your grass, it should be looking great right now. But come July, August, sometimes it starts to look a little puny. Find you a good iron source. There's several different brands out there.
You have a phone call. Real quick, I want to tell you. Remember that app I had that identifies plants?
Right.
That didn't work so well?
So, yeah.
Now there's one that identifies snakes, just so you know.
Yeah, I saw that one. And now that one is probably pretty cool.
I don't know. I don't know if it works.
Yeah, I think it probably does.
Good morning. You're on the air with Carol Ann.
It's Sonny again. About the fertilizer, how about that time release stuff, especially with the for nitrogen, iron, and all that other stuff? Time release, it's not going to wash away that fast.
Right, but if you're talking about for a lawn, just leave it in the garage. If shrubs and things like that, even those should have been fertilized by like the first of the month. If you're using like an Osmocote or a Dynamite, something like that, one of the slow release. But even the lawn fertilizers, there's two brands that I know of offhand, the Lesco and the Sunnyland, that are both have a 50% slow release nitrogen. But even still, we don't need the nitrogen right now. We're getting it every day and every week. So save the fertilization.
Well, the one I have has a lot of iron in it. That's
okay. Well, it's probably like a Max Plus or something like that, plus iron. But even then, that one there is not a real good slow release on its nitrogen form. But you can get an ironite, a Milorganite, a Super Iron Plus, or even simply just a liquid iron even, and that'll green the grass without forcing it to grow and not being a nitrogen source runoff, non-point pollution. So,
all right, thank you.
Yeah, so we'll try.
Right, bye now.
Bye-bye now. We just don't want to, we don't need to put it down, so why? Well, why bother putting it down if your lawn doesn't need it? If you did it on time, and I always say March, June, and September. 1st of March, 1st of June, 1st of September, or mid of September, you can do.
We haven't had a text in a while. I wrote the text down so Carol Ann can read it. Can I just real quickly mention, if you do want to send a text, just go to the Facebook. Just go to Facebook, and you can text it by way of WOCA.
Oh, okay.
Because I think if they can text you through In the Garden also, right? And then it'll show up on your screen.
Oh, maybe.
I think so. So you can either text it to Carol Ann directly on the In the Garden page, or text it to us on the WOCA
Well,
page.
mine would be in the garden because it's closed group. Will it?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. But I just had that one text right there.
Okay. And the text was, does Spanish moss make a good fertilizer? I'm going to say no, not really. I don't think it has anything
Nothing in it,
really in it. You could use it as people use it as a mulch in flower pots and things like that.
Yeah, I've
but
seen
I
that.
would
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would probably, before I did that, because there's always the thing that it's got bugs in it, chiggers
So I
and
thought,
things
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Just get you a big bucket, put some water in it, put a little Clorox in it, dump your moss in there, squish it up and down a little bit,
Right.
drain it out. You could rinse it if you're worried about the bleach, but once it's dry again, it's okay to use. And if you ever notice that in the stores, you can actually buy packages of Spanish moss to use for decoration.
I know, it's not crazy.
And it's like, okay, we have that. Yeah,
Well, does
we
it-
don't need it.
Like if you put it down as ground cover, for example, does it keep the roots cool or something?
It's just going to hold moisture, just like any
hold
other,
moisture.
and block weeds. But sometimes people look for something to add into houseplants as something just to cover the dirt up to keep the cat out, maybe.
Oh, okay.
And
Uh-huh.
things like that, or just cover the soil, just so you're not looking at
Aesthetics.
dirt.
It's about looking good,
aesthetics,
right?
But we have it. But to as a fertilizer, nah, not really. Now I'd probably just either run it over with the lawnmower or pick it up and use it.
By the way,
area where you need a little more mulch.
speaking of running it over with the lawnmower,
Yeah.
Father's Day just passed,
Right.
And I always think of you with your father, because didn't you have to protect something from him running it
my
over?
rose bush, my rose bush, and the lily of the valley had also as a kid. They were planted. They grew if we could keep Dad away from them.
So what is the difference between lily of the valley and the lily I have? What is the difference?
Yours is a peace lily.
Yeah.
It's a house plant.
It looks like the things that people put, like in cartoons when somebody dies.
Yeah, well, the spathiphyllum. You got it after a funeral. It's sort of one that hence the name peace lily. It's to bring at peace.
Right.
Spathiphyllum is its botanical name. The lily of the valley, not.
It's a pretty name, Lily of the Valley.
Yeah, and it was like those had like little upside down bells. Was those little flowers?
Oh, wait a minute. Do you know where I see this in Ocala?
They don't grow here. The little upside.
Oh, they don't?
No.
So what's growing in Ocala
Uh-huh.
at the Sunoco station? There's a fence between that property and the one next door,
I'd have to.
and
go
they look like upside down bell. No, they right side up bells, aren't they? They look like bells. I can't remember.
Are they real low and they just popped up a few?
No, they hang off of the fence. They're like viney.
Oh no, that's something. Yeah, totally different. Because lily of the valley is a short plant. It's a small
okay,
plant.
okay,
Small
okay.
plant. And then of course we have flax lilies, and we have there's lily of the Nile, which is your agapanthus. So we have a lot of different things that get called lilies, even if it's not really. And the blood.
Not really a lily?
Not really a lily. It's colored lily. Yeah, just some of those.
So what's your summertime plan? Swimming?
Work.
No, I mean for
So,
fun. What do you do for fun?
Just hang
What
out.
defines the summer for you? Camping?
I haven't gone camping in a while, but
Camping's better in the cooler months, isn't it?
But you can camp in the summer. You
Yeah?
go someplace that's got water. That's all you need, and a shade
I
tree.
gotta do that. See?
It's a place to go fishing, place to go to the beach, something like that. I do have some beach plans coming up here in the next
Oh, you do?
week and a half. Yeah.
Do the all right, now I know this is a politically charged
Okay.
question, but does the rising waters that they talk about
Right.
on the coast, does that cause salt water to leach into the fresh water and therefore affect the gardens?
They have talked about that for years, and moreover, because of the aquifer getting too low when there's drought conditions and salt water leaching into the aquifer.
As far inland as us?
Not as far inland as us,
okay.
no. But I mean, anything coastal always has that issue with salt, whether or not it's just wind driven,
Right.
because coming off the water. Usually, that's only for the first couple miles within a coastal area, maybe 2 miles, I'm going to guess. But there's plants that are salt tolerant, or that you plant. because they can take that. I knew people who've asked, how do I grow tomatoes when I live over on the coast? And it's just like, don't put them on the beach side of your house. Put them on the other side. The house may help to deflect that salt air, moisture out of there. And watering with, make sure that you're using tap water or that not chlorinated. You might even buy a bottle of water to water so that it's not getting a salt buildup in your plants.
Do you have to work today?
No, I'm off. I actually have a lunch plans with a co-worker that works across town.
Oh my gosh, well, that's good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing the show. I love the show. It's a nice respite from the political talk that we do. We don't do too much of that anymore. I got sick of the political stuff. So, thank you, Carol Ann.
Thank you, Larry.
All right, we'll be right back. This is The Source, WOCA Ocala.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. 1,000 more American troops are headed to the Middle East in response to attacks on oil tankers off Iran's coast. Fox's Griff Jenkins.
Acting Defense Secretary Patrick Shanahan releasing this statement, quote, the United States is not